All right, so we lost a legend in the world of sports yesterday. The great Lou Holtz, who's coached at a lot of places, South Carolina, Arkansas, but I think people most remember him as the head coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Passed away at the age of 89 yesterday. Total legend, national champion, Hall of Famer, fun broadcaster, and a red ass who wasn't afraid to go after Ryan Day all the way till the end. So the great Lou Holtz passed away yesterday. Hell of a run, man. Hell of a life that guy lived.
And he kept fighting even at the end. You know, he had been in hospice care for a while, but I guess, fortunately he was around loved ones and friends, and there were a number of people who got to say goodbye. But, for anyone who had the chance to meet Lou Holtz, I think they saw what a special person he was. It was more than just coaching at Notre Dame and winning a national championship, bringing Notre Dame their last national championship. It was really just who he was. And a lot of people probably don't know his full story, but he grew up in East Liverpool, Ohio, and he came from very humble beginnings. And if you have ever seen him speak, he does this magic trick, and he does multiple ones while he actually gives a lot of his motivational speeches. And he learned that when he was a kid. He would go door to door. That's how he used to make money because of where he grew up. And he still would go back and support various foundations and charities in that area. That's what his foundation went to support. But he was always there for his players, for his staff, people who wanted to get a bit of advice. He made time, and he really made his life after coaching. As much as it was about TV entertainment and everything, I think he did a great job on TV talking about what was special about college football. He made it a lot about just the things that matter in life. So I'll miss him dearly. Obviously, went to go see him back when he was the head coach of South Carolina. Frankly, that was the only reason I went down on that visit. I really didn't have much of a desire to go there, but I took the visit because he was that legendary of a head coach. And the times I got to spend with him before he spoke at a charity event, for example, at that point in time, we didn't even talk about football. He talked to me about being a dad, being a husband, being a dad, like the bigger things in life, and my belief in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. So it was a really, really incredible moment when you spend a time with someone and they're able to be that vulnerable with you. It was pretty neat, especially someone who like Lou Holtz, who's touched so many lives. So incredibly sad, but again, he left his impact on the college football world and on the world in general.
Definite icon. He's one of those names. You think of some of the most influential, inspirational, motivational moments in our game. That name helped mold and shape, how they moved forward. Saturdays there were names: Bobby Bowden, Joe Paterno, Lou Holtz, Coach Robinson. There were some really, really great names, iconic names that helped mold and shape what our game has represented. I did not know Lou Holtz personally, but the most influence that for me that came from watching him and being a part of what he had going on was I was a big Notre Dame fan growing up. That was one of the schools that I enjoyed watching. And so, with those backfields that he had,
I still remember, when I picture him, I picture him on Notre Dame sidelines.
Yeah.
I could still see that because it was on NBC
every week.
Every single week.
Yeah.
And that was before, you had teams that had, super stations. The Braves have a fan base because they were on TBS. The Cubs have a national fan base because they were on WGN, and a lot of people got it. And there's a lot of Notre Dame fans all over the place because you got to see them on NBC every single week. And I remember him. I remember Lou Holtz. You mentioned Joe Paterno, Bobby Bowden. When I think of Miami, I think Dennis Erickson. That's first thing that comes to mind because those were the guys on the sideline. So Lou Holtz coached a lot of places. Dude, he's a Golden Domer in my mind. That's the way I always think
feel
about
like that's the most famed, position. That's what so many legendary moments. Like I remember the bus. I remember Ricky Waters and Brooks in the backfield. Tony Rice there are a lot of Ray Zellers.
The bus.
Yeah, his calves are strong, bro. Strong calves. But yeah, man, but 90, almost 90, 89, I think. Yeah, he had a life. I tell you, I'd be happy if I made it to 89. So
yeah,
and he's seen a lot. I'm certain of that. So,
yeah, great.
Rest easy and thoughts and prayers to the family. But I'm sure they're super proud and super, just focused in on probably continuing what his legacy has represented. So, yeah, shots out to him though.